Happy Wednesday. Happy Thursday. Yesterday was Wednesday. Usually I do these on Wednesday, but we released a little video yesterday. The Emotiva MR1, the wonderful receiver. Y'all doing all right? Are we live? Are we live? I don't see any comments coming in. Oh, there we go. Ed's here. Ryan Ship. Working out. Barry K. Happy day to you. Wesley Fletcher. My man. Wes, I dropped something off at the UPS for you today. So hopefully it'll be there soon. It said 3 days. Kikos, ITA. Hey to you. Greetings from Texas. Italy. Ooh, I love Italy. I want to go back badly. Rome. I was there for work, so I didn't get to see like all of the city. My wife went with me, and so she got to hang out with a bunch of other people while I worked. But I did get to see the Vatican. I saw some old buildings, some fountains. Really cool. And the food was awesome. Hey, Nick Keller. Hey, Tommy. That Emotiva is pretty cool. Sam, I agree. It's a beast. You know, people were complaining about, hey, man, good afternoon to you. People were complaining about not having HDMI 2.1. And I had a nice talk with Dan, the owner, yesterday, actually, about it. And I think I'm going to have him on for an interview because he had some really interesting things to say about HDMI, 8K support, things like that, and why it really doesn't matter. And actually running things through your receiver actually induces issues, latency, propagation. It was really interesting. Really, really interesting. Hey, John Shepler. Hey, Simon Hackshaw, my friend. Hey, Marcus. Hey, Dan. Greetings. Happy Thursday. I regret selling my Infinity Primus 360 tower speakers. They were really good for the money. Oof. I don't blame you. Infinity was top tier, man, back in the day. Greetings from Mexico. I want to go to Mexico too. I haven't been there for a while. Michael Dyer, Ohio. Are you interested in testing a headphone amplifier plus DAC DSD 256? You made one from scratch. That's awesome. Sure. I'm really booked up though. I got gear coming out of my ears. Dan is from Nova Scotia. Very cool. Gary D, what up? Checking in from South Carolina. Hey, today we're going to do a thing. We used to do it. Any super chats, 50% super chats, super stickers, all that stuff is going to go to Homes for Our Troops, which is a charity for the veterans, U.S. veterans. So yeah, but I need to make sure that they're still a charity. I think they are. I'm pretty sure they're still a charity. Anyway, I'm going to keep track of everything that we get. And 50%. And that's 50% before YouTube takes their cut, because YouTube does take a cut out of all this. Pretty good cut. But they provide me with a platform to talk to all of you. So I'm not complaining. Hong Kong, John Long. Older techniques, integrated amp. I love that. Really cool fluorescent meters. Very cool. I regret selling my Polk LSIM. Ooh, LSIM was a good. That was. I think it was their top tier. Like 10 years ago, I think the LSIMs was the top tier of Polk. I think you still might be able to find some of those like new old stock. Another reviewer mentioned that they have some ethics issues with Emotiva, so they returned everything Emotiva sent to them and never reviewed. That's really interesting. I've worked very closely with Emotiva, and there has never been any talk of money for reviews or anything like that. And frankly, I know of other reviewers that have kind of hinted around at that, and they said no. Emotiva said no to that. So I don't know. I think they're about as ethical of a company that I've ever worked with. And I have, I talked to them quite a bit. So I don't know what they're talking about. They have never once asked me, they asked me if I got the product usually. They've never once asked me what I thought. I take that back. Dan did ask me what I thought of the MR1. But Dan and I are friendly. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's interesting. But they've never been unethical on my end. Quite the opposite. All right, we are getting some super chats rolling in. Kikos, €10 super sticker. Thank you, my friend. $5 going to Homes for Our Troops, or €5 equivalent. Ed Homeland, I regret $10. Thank you. I regret selling every piece of hi-fi gear I ever owned because of the amount of money I lost on it. The real regret is how much I spent over the years buying stuff. I know Ed is pretty happy with a very respectable but very affordable system right now. He tells me that he enjoys music more now than he ever did. Another $5. I even sold one of my cars to get some amps. Very few exceptions. Hi-fi is a terrible investment. I kind of agree with Ed. Simon Hackshaw, $20. You know what, Simon? I got some stuff right here you might recognize. Rhodesia. Fine man. Sent these to me. Simon, you may know him. Thank you for your service, Simon. Always support you and the veterans. Thank you, Simon. That's very generous. All my equipment is DIY, actually. DAC, power amp, floor standing speakers. Speaking of DIY, I've had this idea before, and I never did it. But I had something in my garage. I'm not going to spoil the surprise. I had something in my garage that was meant for a gift for somebody else, and I never ended up giving it to them. So I'm going to take that product and do something with it and record the entire thing as real time as I can do it and make a video out of it. And I think it's a really cool, fun idea. It's not probably an original idea, but I haven't seen it done. Well, I haven't seen it done on YouTube. It's probably out there. Probably out there. All right. Let's get back. Again, 50% of any super chat, super sticker going to Homes for Our Troops. Musical Fidelity X-Ray CD player and the XA50 amplifier. Is Musical Fidelity still around? I know they made great stuff. I almost bought a Musical Fidelity amp, and I should have in hindsight. But if I did, this channel may never exist because I bought the Moon by Sim Audio 240i, and I was so underwhelmed with it that I started this channel. But I was going to buy either the Moon or I was going to buy the Musical Fidelity. And I bought the Moon because it was prettier. Thank goodness I did, or we wouldn't be chatting right now. Not mine, but my father-in-law lent his JBL L100s to my sister-in-law. And now he can't get them back. She clearly Googled their value. That's funny. Is she trying to sell them or is she enjoying them? Because if she's enjoying them, then I can see, yeah, keep them. But she's going to sell them. That's not very nice. Tommy regrets sold his NHT 2.5i 2005. Bought them new in 97. Yeah. I feel you. Oh, here we go. 1970s era Yamaha integrated. I just got my 1970 something Yamaha receiver back from Skylabs Audio. They did some work on it for me. Looking forward to putting it back in, seeing what it sounds like. Getting my vintage groove back on. She's be sworn to never sell them. There you go. Juke Box Alley. Yeah, if you have JBL L100 4310, same speaker, keep them. Are definitely worth a lot and keep going up. And a fun speaker. They're really cool looking. That's the speaker from like the Memorex. I can't remember what commercial it was, where the guy's sitting in the chair and he's got like a scarf on, and it's dun 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 dun, and then I think that's the speaker from that old commercial. PG regrets leaving Fisher 2 band from the 60s back in the old country. I don't blame you. Memorex ad. Yeah, that's what I thought. Maxwell ad. We got Memorex and Maxwell. I thought it was Memorex, but I could be wrong. Hey, Wesley Fletcher, $20 from one veteran to other veterans. Thank you for your service, my friends. My friend. Klipsch K-horns, bought them when I was in the Navy. Rosewood, they were beautiful, just too large with all the moves. Wes, I bought a 32-inch flat screen Sony, the big tube ones from the PX. And the thing had to weigh 200 pounds. And I could be underestimating. Maybe it weighed 250. It was an absolute monster. It survived Hurricane Ivan with about 6 inches of standing water in my apartment. And I wasn't in there for a week. So like stagnant, Florida, hot. Took it out, plugged it in, worked just fine. I ended up having to give it away. I put it on the sidewalk, and multiple people tried to pick it up and couldn't. Eventually, someone took it. I have many worst was selling my Sony BVM. Military moves suck. 11 moves in 20 years. Yeah. Part of it, though, right? Appreciate your service. I'm assuming you served. Chris Veltman, $5. Thank you. $2.50 going to Homes for Our Troops. Hi-Fi is a bad investment. My advice: throw away the original packaging. Buy expensive, excellent DIY. Only use annoying bare wire connection. Ooh, I don't know if I agree with you on the bare wire, man. It's just such a pain. There's something so quick and easy about banana plugs. I love them. I love banana plugs. Miami 91. Yep. Thank you for your service, brother or sister. Steven Steigman's Maxwell, blown away. Maybe it was Memorex. Maybe my dementia is just getting worse. LMAO. Close, right? I mean, Maxwell was cassette brand, wasn't it? Adam Audio T7s. Adam Audio is doing some advertising on YouTube. I was watching YouTube yesterday, and an Adam Audio ad popped up at the top. Made me want to get him. My pleasure, man. I enjoyed it. I didn't know I was enjoying it at the time, but looking back, I enjoyed it, even though it was a lot of hard work. Nick Keller, $25 Canadian. Thank you. Hey, Randy, I started building a dedicated Atmos theater room beside my music room. Ooh, you got lots of rooms. I'm not a big surround sound guy, but want to know your opinion of AVR. Should I go with between the Pioneer Elite and the Emotiva M1? If you got the room, I would go with the Emotiva. The Pioneer Elite, well, let me put a caveat on this. So if you are only doing surround, and if you never think you're going to need more power, if you got some fairly efficient speakers, then save some money and go with the Pioneer Elite. If you don't need the extra channels, because it's good with music, very good. And especially when you're run DRAC, it is. But if you're not going to use all 11 channels, or if you have no aspirations to do 13 channel or even 11 channel, and you're not going to be listening to music on it, I would go with the Pioneer. In every other case, though, I would go with the Emotiva because most people don't have, separate room for music and a separate room for home theater. But if you can only do one, if it's combined and you can swing the budget, I would get the Emotiva M, MR1, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Hi, which Class D integrated amplifier do you recommend for the ELAC Unified 5.2? Ooh, with a J2 DAC. Ooh, you want something with some oomph, a little bit of gumption. Trying to think. It's not an integrated, the Crown drive core, but it's not an integrated, and you wouldn't be able to control volume with that. You'd need a preamp. The A08 Pro may do the trick because it's got a beefier power supply. The A07 from IEMA with an upgraded power supply, but you're going to have to control volume locally. I mean, NAD would work, but I don't love the way NADs sound, and I think they're overpriced. But, yeah. It's a dope. It was Maxwell. Sorry. Very cool. $4.99 for the homeless vets. Thank you. So there's a story about Homes for Our Troops. Somebody defrauded them. So there was a guy who was in a wheelchair, and he put in to get a house or get some help from Homes for Our Troops. They built him like a $200,000 or $300,000 house on an acreage somewhere. I think maybe the guy owned some land or his family owned some land. And then turns out he claimed to be paralyzed, service related. Turns out, nope. I don't even think he went out. I think maybe he was in the military, but I don't think he actually was in combat. Sad deal, man, that people take advantage of charities. I mean, but like it happens. Jay Simmons, $20, $10 are going to Homes for Our Troops. Got a Yamaha AS501 and 2 Ethereal Helios. That's quite a mouthful. AS SPKR-26. Suggested sub and perhaps Weem or other streamer. Man, I mean, if you're on a budget, you cannot go wrong with the Weem Pro. I think it's great. I don't think you can beat it. For a subwoofer, it depends on your budget. I'm going to preface this with I have no experience with a rail, but people swear by them. If you have the budget and you're only into music, get a rail. Otherwise, the easy recommendations for me are SVS and Emotiva. SVS is a killer app, so you can control it from the comfort of your favorite chair and set the crossovers, set gains. There's even an EQ. So if you have some room issues and you can measure it, you know where it's at, you can mess with the EQ. Amazing. Jim Mather. Hey, got a Nirvana t-shirt on with George Washington. Looking very determined with George Washington. I love that picture. Hey, from North Carolina, Raleigh. Thoughts on the best sub $500 2.1 tube amp for my office? Ooh. I don't know if it's a 2.1. Black Ice Audio has one, a little bit over that budget, though. It's a true tube amp. Otherwise, you're going to be looking at some type of hybrid with a tube buffer on the front end. And I mean, $500 is a tough category because they're either ultra cheap and not that great, or they pretty much start around $600. And Black Ice is kind of the entry level. I know Monoprice makes some stuff. I bought one and it was terrible, so I sent it right back. I'm not the tube guy. Not a tube guy. I've had tubes for sure, tube amps in, but I'm just not much of a tube guy. T9 from IEMA, but again, that's really affordable. I don't know, man. I just don't have like. There's nothing jumping off the top of my head. You can also do something like the X Duo MT602 as a tube buffer, and it's a headphone amp and then a preamp, and then you can run that into a Class D or something if you want to have some fun and roll some tubes, stuff like that. TM4000M, $5. Thank you so much. Jukebox Alley, not a tube fan myself. I tried, but not a huge fan. A lot of trouble and very rolled off usually. Yeah, I've actually had the opposite experience. Like, I feel like tube amps, or at least the ones that I've listened to, I want to preface that, have all been like mid-range in your face, and thin on the bottom. Rysong A10, yeah, that's an EL34. I think they've gone way up in price though. You used to be able to get them out of China you still get them out of China. I think they're around 400 delivered or something like that. It was okay. Somebody asked a question about the Linton. Here's one. Give away an old 100% perfectly functional Rotel receiver when I moved because it was heavy. Grr. You know, it's funny because we do this, we don't think it's going to be worth anything. I mean, who would have thought like 70s receivers would have been worth anything? They used to just throw them out, right? And then all of a sudden now they're very popular again. So it's easy. Like I got an old Yamaha home theater receiver. It's like 20 years old. It may be older than 20 years old. And it's upstairs. It gets hotter than hell. And I could just see myself trashing it. And then all of a sudden, somehow that was like the perfect receiver or something like that. And then be like, oh, why did I do that? All right. I sold my older Technic stuff, which I miss. I'll never sell my Infinity Compositions Overture 3. Probably a good idea. What do you think of the AIMA A08 Pro paired with the ELAC? Is it enough watts? I think it might be. And you have tone controls. Because that comes with a 36 volts, I think 6 amp. I actually have it plugged in right over there. I think it'd probably work. Those things still love the juice, though. Even though the second generation is not as hard to drive as the first. Was the Black Ice with the Linton or the Denton? Denton. But the Linton's actually more efficient. So I'm sure the Black Ice would do well with that one, too. Have you tried the Savage A30A? I think so. Or maybe not. Maybe it was just the A20A. I think I have a Savage laying on the floor. I do. That's my life. This was on the floor. This is the A20D. Okay, so this is a DAC. I love the styling, though, on these. I don't know. D1NO2. No, he hasn't. I appreciate that. I've had so much stuff in here, I actually forget what I've done. Which is sad, but I mean, I've had 4 or 5 Savage, maybe 6, 7 Savage products come through. And so I do get the model numbers mixed up sometimes. Savage, ain't that what you clean your nose with? It's a hanky. Savage A30A sounds like a great all-in-one solution. Would be cool if you get it a test. All right, I'm gonna write that down. They're really cool. Every time I ask them for anything, they say yes. Savage A30A. There we go. That was me, Black Ice with the okay. All right, cool. We still rocking and rolling? Speakers are Polk Audio Monitor XT20 with the AS501. Are you asking if that's a good combination? Because I actually have the XT20s and I have the AS301. I haven't tried them together. Could be a little spicy on top because those XT20s have a bit of spice on them. But you got tone controls and variable loudness. Um, just discovered you can use the Weem app to run my Arylic S50 Pro preamp. Yes, Arylic and okay, so somebody said Arylic and Weem are the same company. They are not actually. Because Arylic does sell Weem, but they're like a reseller. And I got in big trouble because I actually linked the Weem Amazon link to a Weem Arylic seller. And they're like, that's not us. So anyway, Weem is part of Link Play, I believe. But they both use the 4-stream, or I mean, maybe it's not 4-stream, but up 4-stream, like Dayton Audio, Andover, all of the Arylic stuff is a platform that you can buy and then you can tweak it. The thing about Weem is they've tweaked the heck out of that kind of platform, and it's really good. Arylic may be caught up. I don't know though. But yes, when you pull up the Weem app, and the Weem app is really just a 4-stream app that's just been rebadged and tweaked a bunch, but they're all on the same platform. So yeah, 838 sounds like a great. Oh, okay. Oh, here we go. Like, oh my gosh. I'm like, where did everybody go? Chris Studebaker, no regrets giving away AIMAs to Patreons, but missed the 3 boxes of 90s punk industrial CDs I gave away to make room in the basement. Ooh, yeah. Giving away music again, man. Back in the 90s, I was like, what do I need all these CDs for? And then I'm like, I really regret giving away all my CDs as I'm buying them back again. Chris, thank you for the super chat. $2.50 going to Homes for Our Troops. I'm going to have to add all this up too, because YouTube doesn't tell you like, hey, this is how much you made from your live stream. It just kind of aggregates it all together with your daily earnings too. So I'm going to have to add all these up so I know what to give. And I'm going to do it today. Oh, what do I think of the Lokius? I love the Lokius. Lokius is my friend. Take it easy though on your putting the RCAs in, because I had an RCA break off of the board with the Lokius. So don't jam it in there. Hi, which is better, SMSL DA9 or the AIMA A08 Pro? I like the A08 Pro, but you got 2 different chips. So that DA9 is the Infineon 12070. Could be considered to be cleaner, but I think it's less robust on the bottom end. Also has an internal power supply. The 808 Pro has a 3255 Ti chip, comes with a 36 volt, 6 amp, and you can upgrade that all the way up to a 48 volt. So if you're in need of a lot of power and you're willing to get a different power supply, out of the box though, the 36.6 amp is good and hefty enough. The DA9 though, you're not ever going to increase how much power comes out of that. So if that's enough, it's good. Personally, for me, I would still get the 808 Pro, even though I think the DA9 is built better and has some very good baked in EQs and it looks a lot cleaner. I'd probably still get the 808 Pro simply because I think it sounds more natural and it's cool. It's got a little VU meter on it. ASX has his hands up in the air at MW ASX. Weem is link play. Yeah, that's what I said, isn't it? That's what I thought I said. I regret giving away my OG Xbox and N64. Oh, don't you know it? I had original Nintendo like back in the day. I had original Atari. And I remember my grandparents gave that to us, me, my brother, and my sister. That was like the big present. And I think they were like $350 back in the 80s, the Atari. 2600. So I had one of those laying around. I think it was sold at a garage sale. Had the original Nintendo. Again, I think that was sold at a garage sale. I had a Super NES. I had a Sega Dreamcast. Oh, who would have thought? Again, vintage gaming would be a thing. Like who would have thought that? It's kind of like you become a pack rat almost because of like keeping everything. But I don't really care about the Atari because I'd never play the Atari. I would still play the original OG Nintendo, and I would still play the NES. I never had the N64. I had a buddy that N64. Dreamcast was awesome. And then I had original PlayStation, which I have no idea where that's at. So that's gone. And then I have 2 PlayStation 3s. I also had an Xbox. I did have an Xbox. It was back when the Xboxes would like overheat or something would happen. You get the red ring of death, and then you could wrap it up in a towel and basically overheat it so that the solder melted and then it worked again. But you can only do that so many times. So yeah, fun times. Oh, Commodore. I had my uncle's Commodore. Atari 2600 was fun. Sam still has his Dreamcast. Very nice. I regret selling my old Blacklight posters from the 70s. Oh, dude, my brother has a Dreamcast that we gave away as well. There's a really cool, I guess it's a YouTube video. It's pretty much a documentary about why Sega failed as a hardware manufacturer. It's really interesting. I watched the whole thing. It was like 30 minutes. Hi-Fi Photo Bree. Yeah, Neo Geo. You can't talk your parents into buying a $200 game. Wow. That's pretty like out there. I remember that. Do you remember the Atari Jaguar? Like it just kind of tried to compete. I can't remember what era that was. But there's Atari Jaguar. I still have my Atari Lynx. I should start it up sometime. Have you had a chance to compare Skit Freya plus solid state buffer mode versus Freya S? So I don't have the Freya S. I actually have the Freya N here. So I couldn't compare that. I know that the non-tube Freya was my preference over the Freya Plus. But again, not a tube guy. Sega Japan didn't listen to other territories, and well, sadness. Plenty of Chinese retro handhelds that will emulate my many old platforms. Shocker. NES, Sega Genesis, as Game Boy. Yes. And I think you can get like a knockoff kind of, it looks like a mini Nintendo, because Nintendo re-released a mini that had a whole bunch of the 8-bit titles on there, and they sold out. And I don't know why they don't bring those back, because I think it would be huge seller, but they haven't. Ryan has his original Genesis with games, still works. I had a buddy that had a Genesis. I remember playing Sonic. It was really cool. Neo Geos are worth thousands. Of course they are nowadays. They're like the pre-war Bugatti of game collecting. It's so funny, right? These like failed, I don't know, electronics are now so, because this is because the nerds like us, like growing, the guys my age that grew up in the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, right? We remember all this stuff, and now we have a little bit of money in our pocket. And you're like, yeah, I'll buy a Neo Geo for $1,000. The nerds have money now. The Gen X nerds have money now. That's who watches my channel. Like the biggest section of my audience are people that are my age, which is funny. Don't forget the Virtual Boy. I remember that thing. It was like it had this huge tripod thing, right? Remember that. I never had one. I never knew anybody that had one, but I remember the like the advertisements. I had the Magnavox Odyssey 2 console. I've never even heard of that. Wow. We are nerds. Yes, we are. It's okay though. John Shepler, my brother bought me. What? Commodore 64? Your brother must have had some bucks when he was in the military. I miss the sound of dial-up. I'm 32. I'm on the young side. You are, William. Did you know that Fozzy Audio HD A1 Hi-Fi Home Class AB amplifier can easily work at 2 ohm load speakers? Great amp. I've been talking to Fozzy. They're actually going to sponsor the channel, which is pretty cool. Gen X nerds do rule. 26 sounds like young for this audience then. It is. Well, it's a bell curve, right? The biggest part of the bell curve is, I think, 36 to 46 or something like that. And then it kind of goes on either side. But 26 is about where my audience begins. It's smaller percentage, largest percentage is people my age, and then it kind of goes down. Although it's kind of shifted up because 60-year-old and 70-year-olds are bigger percentage than the 20-year-olds. 17, Nero. Man, what a good time to be young and into hi-fi. You don't know the trials and tribulations we had to go through when we were 17. And I'll tell you the reason why. Because YouTube didn't exist. And the magazines, most of them are in the bag for whatever they're writing about. And most of the articles were written about stuff that was so expensive it didn't matter. So you didn't know if anything was good until you listened to it at home. But the cool thing was every furniture store anywhere had a stereo section. So that was what was cool about growing up in the 80s and 90s is it wasn't like the good stuff, but you could go buy speakers and a receiver anywhere, even in really tiny towns. They may have not been the best ones, but you could still do it because it was such a part of the zeitgeist back then. Like everybody had, and radio was huge back then. So that's what was cool. I mean, you used to be able to buy component audio stuff at Walmart. It was an Emerson branded, which I think was just made for Walmart. I bought a component CD player at Walmart, which is pretty cool. It's completely different now, but you also have access to YouTube. Yeah, some YouTubers are probably in the bag too, but anyway. Gordo, where you been my whole life? I was actually thinking about you today. I'm like, I need to text Gordo because I haven't heard from you. Thought you were dead in a ditch. Maybe DFW. You got blown off the taxiway in a horrendous jet accident at American Airlines. Simon, I'm 46. 46. Born in 76. I gave away a Pioneer SX. Oh, talk about regret. Oh my goodness. That's terrible. Trevor Martin wins. You win. 1980. Hey, Junior Jandel, $10. $5 going to Home Store Troops. I disagreed with you on one point of your last video. I still love vintage hi-fi products, and I'm currently running a setup from the 70s because I love this stuff. Hey, man, if you go back and watch that video, I said I love vintage audio. I just I'm in a different position because I listen to so much stuff. And so when the few times that I am listening to music for pleasure, I don't want to be distracted. I just want it to work. And some of my vintage stuff distracts me because of hums, hisses, pops, and things like that. I love the idea of vintage audio. And if I wasn't doing this, it probably wouldn't bother me as much. But my pleasure music listening is a very valuable thing, and I hold it very close to my heart. And so when something takes me out of the music, I get I get pissy at it because I'm really fortunate to be able to be like, hey, I'll just put it on my Emotiva monoblocks because they don't do that. So yeah. Anyway, Ed met his wife in 76. Very cool. There's a guy that says West Texas something, or here it is, West Texan. Y'all had everything in the 60s and 70s. We didn't have nothing like y'all had in the 80s. I'm 62 and go back to 8-tracks. My dad had an 8-track. We had Oak Ridge Boys. You would put it in and it sounded like you were docking to the International Space Station when you shoved that 8-track into it. And then there's like this big lever and you'd push it down and be like clunk, clunk. It was like transmission from a 1969 crappy car. I'm broke because I'm cool. Yes. I miss horns in my speakers. Go get you some clips. Had the Magnavox Odyssey, Atari 2600 on Christmas 77, and Commodore 64 and 84 for 8th grade graduation. Oh my goodness, 8th grade graduation. That's awesome. We got our 20 Atari in the 80s. It was mid 80s. So I had no idea that Atari was in 77. I had no idea it was that old. Hi, making my first hi-fi system from Argentina. Very good. Your videos and streams are of great help. Thank you. 26-year-old viewer. Patricio. Gaston Madeo. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying things. You are in for hi-fi is like golf, right? Like you can just enjoy it for the rest of your life. So it's awesome that you're getting into it. Came with Pong. I remember Pong. We had Pong. I remember there was 2 controllers. You had the joystick with the button, or you had like the circle one. We didn't have the circle one. We just had the controller, and then if you really cranked on them, you would break them. Shoveler loves Pong. Great channel. Hey, Karam, Malik. Quick question. What are your thoughts on Yamaha A6A receiver? Fortunately, I haven't heard that one. Also, does Wii Mini sound as great as the iFi Zen Stream from Optical Cable? Well, iFi would love to tell you that their stuff sounds the best, and it probably does. But the problem with the iFi Zen is unless you're just doing Tidal Connect or a Rune endpoint, I don't love it because it's harder to use. However, I haven't had it for a long time. I think they have done a lot of work when it comes to their UI. They may have a great UI right now. I know that they did not support Amazon Music when it first came out. So if you're a Rune user, I would say the Zen Stream probably sounds better. If you're not a Rune user, then I don't know. Depends. ZenStream doesn't have a DAC. Well, you're saying optical out, so you obviously have a DAC. But like if it's a use case scenario that the ZenStream is going to meet, and you only use that, then probably ZenStream, because I know that they put a lot of engineering into it. The problem with the ZenStream is it's a hardware product first, software product second, and the Weem is software first, hardware second. MW, ZenStream is the best budget streamer out there, but interface sucks bad. Yep. I can't say that it's the best sounding simply because I don't have it anymore and I didn't AB it. But yeah, I think ZenStream better hardware, crappier software. Weem better software, maybe worse hardware. NAD CS1 streamer is new kid in town. Will you try it? I don't know. I don't think whatchamacallit. What is there? Lenbrook. I don't know if Lenbrook likes me anymore. I'll ask him. I haven't like done backflips over the NAD stuff. Or I mean, I love Blue Sound, but like with Weem, it's tough. So I don't know. I can ask them. I can ask them if they'll send me one. But it's been crickets. I haven't talked to their PR people for a long time. So they might not like me. It's pure speculation on my part, though. Argon Solo, great for EU people. Yeah. Another thing that we haven't talked about is the Raspberry Pi. With the USB Raspberry Pi 4 with USB out now, you don't even need a DAC hat anymore if you have a DAC. You're limited to whatever operating systems, but the Raspberry Pi is a very capable streamer. Is there any best site to buy lossless and support the artist? If it's this is an interesting question. If they're on Bandcamp is pretty much like almost all of the money goes directly to the artist. Streaming, there was a great video, and it was this guy's a musician, and it's basically kind of an expose on Spotify. And as Spotify gets bigger, they actually have paid their artists less. The problem with Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, or any of these is that they do give a platform to artists that would otherwise not be known. And if that artist can market themselves and they have good product and good music, then you can record a record on GarageBand. Like the cool thing about like technology today is you can go out and buy a mic. You can go to Walmart and buy a podcast mic, or to Best Buy. There's more podcast mics at Best Buy than there are receivers at Best Buy now. So you can go over to Best Buy, I promise there's a point here. You can go to Best Buy, buy a microphone, buy some headphones, buy a camera, whatever you need. You can start a YouTube channel today by just going down to Walmart or Best Buy. So you can get good mics. You can soundproof your room. You can record a record on GarageBand. You can upload it to Bandcamp, and you can be selling records immediately or selling downloads immediately. You can also, through some services, put your stuff on Spotify, Amazon Music, Tidal, and things like that. They do take some money, but it's not like it used to be where you'd have to cut a demo, then you'd have to get signed by a record label, and those record labels, it's not like they didn't like leech money from the artists either. Like there's tons of stories about like horrible record deals where, you know, bands that I like the Beatles, I think they had to buy back their catalog. And there's so many stories about that. So like, even though Spotify, Amazon Music, and everybody, they take a huge cut from the artists, it's not like that is new. That's been around forever. But it's a long way to answer the question that if there is an artist and they're on Bandcamp, I think Bandcamp almost passes a large portion of the money through. It's a long way to go. I prefer blackberry pies. Ooh, it sounds delicious. Let's see. Did I miss any super chats? No. NAD and Blue Sound are essentially the same. Yeah. They're both owned by Lenbrook. So it's kind of like Onkyo and Pioneer now. So they're, yeah. Like NAD uses Blue Sound modules and all that stuff. I think Qobuz lets you purchase. Never tried it myself. Yes, Qobuz lets you purchase. Actually, Amazon Music lets you purchase as well. Bandcamp. Michael Walker. TM 4000 for what it does. $3,500 is a bargain. Bang and Olufsen have a sound bar for $6,000. That's not half as good. Oh, I don't know what you're referring to. Bought the Tunic game soundtrack on Bandcamp. Love it. Very good. Very good. Very good. Don't most people torrent music? I would. Oh my goodness. No way. Like had torrent. Okay, so hopefully the FBI doesn't come after me. I downloaded Captain America through some torrent site, and it was such a horrible experience. I'm like, I'm never doing this again. And like I deleted everything. Like for what it costs to, like I used to spend in the 80s and 90s, I would spend way more than $12 a month on CDs. Because that's one CD a month, basically. And so I actually think streaming is like hugely awesome. Because if I hear something and I love it, then I just buy the CD and then I rip it, put it on my NAS, play the CD. So, plus, how do you know? Like, you can torrent music, but how do you know what you like? Unless you're just listening to stuff you already know. Napster. I got 4 terabytes of FLACs and DSDs from torrents. You're a braver man than I am. Wii Mini is on the Lightning. Here's, you know what? Let's go back to this. And I'm not picking on you, Pixel Castle, but there is a belief system that people deserve news for free, entertainment for free, which includes music. And like, I get it. Torrent's the thing. Somebody bought it at one time. So it's kind of like you're loaning it to a friend, but with digital music, it's not like you're loaning it because you're actually giving it. So it's bought once, but it's anyway, there is, and I think it started with Napster, just a belief system that everybody deserves any music that they want for free whenever. And I think that's BS. I mean, people put their heart and soul, they make their living by creating entertainment, whether that's music, whether that's YouTube, whether that's movies or whatever it is. And it's stealing. It's stealing. It may be like socially acceptable stealing, but it's still stealing. And I have a belief system. Like when I read a news article, I don't want to pay to read a news article, but there's ads there, right? So I'm seeing some ads or what have you, but like free entertainment is unpopular to say that people should pay for it because it's just so ubiquitous to steal music, to steal videos, to do whatever that I don't know. I never really felt this way until I started getting like crap about like putting sponsors in my videos, taking money for like sponsorship, like I don't know, the wallets, whatever their name is, extra wallets or whatever it was. Like people give me so much crap about that, and then people will give me crap because there's too many ads in my videos. But it's like they don't get some special dispensation to like just consume whatever they want to consume without ad. That's why YouTube exists. YouTube exists to show you ads, but it also gives you a platform to where you get to enjoy, you know, unlimited programming, basically to sit through 5-second ad about the Cadillac ET4, whatever it is. So it's a weird dynamic because I kind of went from one end of the spectrum where I never really cared. Like I never thought that I deserved all this free music. I'd still buy music or whatever, but you know, I downloaded music illegally. Not very often though, because it took forever to download one song and half the songs were jacked up anyway, because this was in dial-up time. But we would copy CDs and kind of give them out. But being on the other end of it now, when people, and I've heard it a couple of times that I shouldn't have sponsors, I shouldn't have Patreon, I shouldn't have ads, I should just do this for free. It's kind of a hot button for me now. I get it. I don't agree with it though. Michael, I'm referring to the Nagamichi Dragon. Ooh, 11.4.6 soundbar. Not Nakamichi's coming out with something? I thought they were dead in the water. Have they been resurrected? That's cool. Cool. Should come out with a tape deck. I use Ad Blocker Ultimate. Am I stealing? I don't know. Do you pay for it? It's not YouTube Premium. If you use Ad Blocker Ultimate, yes, you're stealing. I think you are. It's your right. I mean, if you want to steal content and not support anybody, then steal content, not support anybody. So yeah, I mean, I don't know how it works on the back end, but yes, because you're not doing what everybody else is doing to get the content, which is sitting through an ad. Like if somebody can't take 5 seconds to skip through an ad or whatever. I mean, I even timestamp my sponsored stuff. I'm not trying to pick on you, Sam, but I mean, if you're asking me the question and there's 2 options to answer, either yes or no, yes, you're stealing. But technology exists, so it's a weird thing. Like when the internet started, like I think there was an expectation for free stuff, and I think that really is still the case. Like I don't care, man. I appreciate you watching. But if you're going to put me on the spot, I'm going to say yes, you're stealing. How would you eat? That's true. I make my living off of this. I support a whole family by doing YouTube and YouTube related things. So yeah, not everybody's going to support me. Like if you have ad blockers or whatever, but yeah, I don't begrudge anybody. Do you still get revenue when people skip an ad? Yes, because I think the first 5 seconds is like the meat and potatoes of the ad anyway. So I don't know exactly how it works, but when I select ads, I say skippable and non-skippable. So I don't exactly know how it works with a skippable ad. I still listen to cassettes I made back in the 80s. The B1 Plus speakers do the old school music justice. That's awesome. When a video starts fast forward, push it to the end, then restart or reset the video. Ads are gone. Tip of the day. There you go. I have some viewers. Oh, shoot. About time for me to go. I have some viewers that watch all of my ads, like from front to back. And I don't pick those ads, so I don't know which ones are going to show up or not. When I'm watching my own video, I skip my own ads, but you still get the first 5 seconds or whatever. Anyway, I didn't want this to be about like ads and stuff like that, but it is what it is. Ed says, keep doing what you're doing, my friend. Thank you. Simon Hackshaw, tape recording off the radio. Oh my goodness. Yes. Simon, I used to try to do that, but my tape recorder was so horrible. So I was trying to tape Thriller. And at the time, I had a set of headphones that were connected to a boombox. And Thriller came on, and I had a mono tape recorder. So I would use a mono. So this is how technically adept I was. I would use a mono tape recorder to record the radio off of a boombox. And so I had the headphones on. It was like I didn't have time to pull out the headphones, so I stuffed one of the ear pads against the mic on the mono tape recorder. Terrible recording. That was the first time I was like, this is on you. I can't use this. Bro, just get YouTube Premium. Think of it as Netflix. Yeah, that's an option for everybody. I do see YouTube Premium income. So that is part of the breakdown. Feliciano, $9.99. Here you go. Some cereal for the kids. Thank you. You're going to give $5 to, or $4.98 to Homes for Our Troops too. Brett said, yuck. I'll tell you what, I love you channel. I love you channel. Or eggs. Oh, don't get me started on the eggs, man. $5.50 for a dozen eggs. I feel so terrible, and I'm gonna get on a soapbox. I feel so terrible for people that have like a fixed income or limited income because inflation is so bad on food that this is seriously got to be impacting many families' lives with the price of food. I think it's just terrible. Maybe we should give the money to some type of food charity. Although I don't know how I like to spread the wealth. It's not like you guys want to give money to the Fort Worth food bank or whatever it is. I don't know. I'll do a poll in my community section, and you guys can pick what charity you want this to go to. Anyway, I've got to run. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for making my dreams come true by watching 5 seconds worth of ads, or 30 seconds, or soldiering through a sponsor about fake Japanese knives, which, by the way, I fired those people. I did get out of my contract. So I appreciate all of you, because without you, my life would not be like it is today. And my life is awesome. I love it. I love all you guys and girls, whatever, whoever you are. Trees, if you identify as a tree, or a 65-year-old Vietnamese woman, I appreciate you. Anyway, y'all have a great day. More content to come this weekend. All right. We'll see you. Bye-bye. 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 Bye. 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 Bye.